Lola, your favorite travel correspondent, coming to you directly from the beautiful island of Oahu, Hawaii. Before we get into the heart of the video, the fun fact for today is here in Hawaii, we take off our shoes when we enter ours or anyone else's home. It's customary, it's a sign of respect, and it's expected. So if you come to my house, take off your shoes. And really it comes from the Asian population that migrated over here, and it's become a part of Hawaii culture as well. All right, now getting into the pros and cons. Today I've got 4 pros and 4 cons for you with regards to living in Hawaii. My first pro and one of my favorite pros about Hawaii is the low crime rate. Hawaii has a crime rate of 2.5 incidences per 1,000 people, which is lower than the national average of 4 incidences per 1,000 people. Speaking from experience, I feel extremely safe here. Not safe enough to leave my doors unlocked because you never know, but it really is paradise. I think one of the reasons why crime is so low here, regardless of which island you're on, it's going to be hard to run and hide if you commit a crime. You can't just drive to another state. If you want to get on a plane and the police are looking for you, you're going to get caught. It's honestly quite surprising considering how low minimum wage is compared to how expensive it is to live here, but maybe it's just the aloha spirit that keeps people from hurting each other as much as on the mainland. We're encouraged here to treat your neighbors like you would your family, and you don't want to hurt your family, right? The second pro, and probably a super obvious one, is if you live in Hawaii, you have 24-hour access to the beach. I wouldn't want to go to the beach in the dead of night, but I'm saying, you know, it's open to the public. You're never too far away from the ocean. You can take a nice swim, you can go snorkeling. Not everywhere you're gonna see fish or turtles, but you have the option to drive, and at least on Oahu, the farthest distance is an hour away. So you can go within the hours to a place where you can see fish. It's pretty cool. The fact that you don't have to drive too far to get to an ocean here is one of my favorite perks of living here. Pro number 3 to living in Hawaii is the island hopping. Now, of course, we can't drive from state to state, but the cool thing is we can hop on a plane and within a half hour I can get to Maui from Oahu. I don't remember how long it takes to get to the other islands, but none of them are super far away. So you can definitely do a day trip at least to Maui from Oahu, for example. You can do a weekend trip to another island. It's just really cool to get to see the other islands because each island has its own personality. My husband and I, for example, go to Maui to go whale watching. Sometimes we do a day trip, and it's a really cool thing to be able to do. Honestly, the plane ride is so quick, there's not even enough time for a nap. It's kind of just like if I lived in San Diego, driving from one end of San Diego to the other. And actually, that might not even be accurate because San Diego is a really big county, so it's probably even a quicker commute. Pro number 4, and it's a big reason why a lot of people come here and don't want to leave. Hawaii is such a nice place for healing. With the weather to the culture of aloha, it's a place where you can come, be at peace, and depending on where you go on which island, you can really be in a place that isn't extremely busy, unless you go to Honolulu, of course. But even on Oahu, you can hop to the North Shore, you can go to the west side. You can find yourself in a place where there aren't a lot of people around you. You can be one with yourself and nature. You can go earthing every day. And it's just a place where you can really kind of separate yourself from the drama and chaos that is the mainland, no offense. But coming here after having lived on the mainland, I do notice a huge difference in just the energy of the whole place. Not to mention that there is nature all around you here. Even when you're in the city, I'm looking out at the window and I see trees everywhere. So no matter where you are on the islands, you can find peace somewhere and a space for yourself. All right, on to the cons. Con number 1 is, at least on Oahu, I don't feel like this is a very bike-friendly place. There are a few places that have sidewalks and then a bike lane, and then like stanchions, and then the road, which is great, but overall it doesn't seem like a very safe place to go bike riding. I've only ridden bikes twice, I think, and I just felt unnerved, like I was afraid I was going to get hit. So if you are coming here and you don't have a car, that's going to be possibly challenging. I don't know what it's like on other islands because I haven't lived in other islands, although I will say that the other islands are even less populated. So on the one hand, you might have fewer cars to worry about, but on the other hand, there might not be a lot of paved roads for you to travel on unless you're in a neighborhood. So not too sure about the other islands, but at least from what I can see living on Oahu, it just doesn't seem like there are a lot of spaces for bike riders to ride and not have to be on constant alert. Con number 2, and this kind of goes along with the first one somewhat, is the public transportation here is no bueno. And I say this because when I first moved here, I did not have my car here. I left it in San Diego for the first year, and I took the bus sometimes, and it was so unreliable. I mean, even in San Diego, the buses are unreliable, and I know because for a short period of time, I didn't have a car. I sold one, and I had a brief period where I had to take public transportation. Luckily, I worked near where I lived, so I could walk to work, but getting anywhere else, it was just a hassle. And here, it's the same thing. Sometimes the buses don't even show up. If I can avoid it, I will never take the bus again. But also, if you have an appointment, forget it. Or take the bus before the bus that you should take, just in case the one you should take doesn't show up. You can get to your place super early. It just seems like an inefficient way to live, and some people don't really have a choice. Consider moving to a place that's near where you work or working remotely, because honestly, taking the bus is it's just so stressful here. All right, con number 3 is VOG. VOG is a term that means volcanic smog. On the Big Island, there is the volcano Kilauea, and depending on the level of activity of that volcano, you will get emissions in the air that the wind then blows to the other islands. So if you have allergies, you might be affected by the VOG here. And specifically when the volcano is erupting, it's the worst, obviously. Back in 2018, it did erupt, and the VOG was noticeable for people with allergies like myself, more coughing, a little bit harder to breathe. So we've got that, but it's one of those things where the volcano is not always extremely active, so it's not a constant, the way smog is all the time, for example, because the only way to stop smog is to stop driving, and there are people always driving, right? But with the volcano, it's not always extremely active, and so you're going to get different levels of that, but it is something that is a con and something that's different from places on the mainland, that's for sure. The 4th con to living in Hawaii is the threat of tsunamis. It wasn't until I moved here that I started having nightmares about tsunamis, but that's also because I lived in Waikiki when I first lived here. Now I live a little farther away. I'm outside of the tsunami zone, so I'm not really that concerned anymore. Because at least if there was a tsunami warning, you'd have some time to get away from the coastline, but it is a real potential threat that you don't have to worry about everywhere, you know, only if you're on the coast. So that's something to think about. All right, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you found this helpful. Make sure to subscribe if you like this video, like it, and check out my other videos in this series, the pros and cons of living in Hawaii. See you in the next one. Aloha.
That long pectoral fin that keeps coming out of the water, that's going to be that female, most likely kind of like flirting with those males, being like, come here boys, like showing off her stuff. See, that's like slow motion sort of movement.